Runes, baby, the most anticipated launch on Bitcoin probably ever is finally in our lives. Runes went live at block 840,000, which is incidentally the Bitcoin halving. So after just under 48 hours since Runes has gone live, maybe 36 hours, it's barely been 2 days. And a lot of people are saying that the Runes launch was kind of anticlimactic. Lots of build up, lots of hype, and yet we don't really have anywhere to trade it yet. The infrastructure is still being built out. Chill out. It's only been a day and a half, so let these things play out. Let these things build. Let the teams work on what they're working on. But we will now actually go into a bit of a dive into what runes are, how to buy them, how to mint them, and a little bit of high level thinking about what the future holds for tokens on Bitcoin and why do you even need tokens on Bitcoin in the first place. So let's take a look. Let's start off with the basics actually. So I'm gonna share my screen. There you see my screen, and that's a tweet from Mr. Ben Sigmund. That's one of the better posts that I've actually seen on runes. So runes are tokens on Bitcoin. Runes were invented by Casey Rodamore, who is the creator of ordinals. So ordinals obviously are all inscriptions of Bitcoin. So it's a way to create NFTs on Bitcoin. Now, the difference between ordinals and ETH NFTs or Solana NFTs that you're used to is that with ordinals, the JPEGs, the media files are actually inscribed on chain. So that's the first point to keep in mind, that everything that's happening now on Bitcoin, the runes, ordinals, the BRC20, they all immutable and eternal. They're not using off-chain data like ETH NFTs. So this is forever. Ordinals and runes are forever. So that's basically runes in a nutshell. It supports all different functions like minting runes and etching runes. So etching a rune is basically the first transaction that you do to create that ticker, so to speak, and then you can mint the runes. Now, this is where it all started. So, you know, about 2 months ago, those of us who were lucky enough to get a little drop in our wallet of RSIC, which is Rune Specific Integrated Circuit, we basically got these random NFTs, and there was a inscription on the blockchain with a bunch of instructions on what exactly how the game plays out, and that was one season. So it was about 2.5, 3 months of mining these R6. This was the first pre-rune project. Now, the way it worked is you had each block that you held the R6 for, you mined a allocation. Now look at these rich MFers, right? They're sitting on $748 million rune allocation. So each block you mine one a certain amount of RSIC allocation. You could boost your allocation, which means you inscribe another NFT that sort of gives you an added allocation. And there was also pooling. There was also a way to, there was also pooling. We'll get into that. There was a raffle at the halving. There was a raffle for. They took 5%, 4%, 3%, 2%, 1%. So they took 15% of the supply and they raffled it to 5 lucky winners. Now, part of the genius of this community-driven project is some guy came up with the idea: let's pool our raffle tickets together, right? And then the pool if the pool wins the raffle ticket, then okay, the guy who won the raffle will only win 10%, and everyone else will win the remaining tickets. So that's what happened with the RSIC raffle. 4 out of the 5 prizes went to pooled R6. So if you pooled your R6, you won even more allocation. So this is where it all started, right? So there was about 21,000 RSIC. There was people mining $21 billion in supply, a decent amount, and this is sort of um, the first pre-ruined project that set off a boom of similar projects. And not all the projects work the same. Not all the projects have similar mechanics as RSIC. So here you see the pre-ruined project. RSIC the actual NFT, if the price of it has actually collapsed since the halving. You see a big dip at the time when people, this is essentially when the snapshot happened. So at this point, if you still hold your RSEC here, you could still, get some allocation for season one, and there's a big drop now. That being said, RSEC have announced season two, so you can, no one knows what season two is going to be, but the miner stays on. So RSEC is definitely a long-term hold. They're not, it's not one and done. And now is actually, it might be a great time if you missed out on season one to play season two. And then we have the remaining collections. We have Runestones, which still, as of this recording, have not done their snapshot, which is why the NFT price is so high, because people can still win, can still get the snapshot for the first Runestone meme coin. Prometheans, another one that we're still not clear about how they're going to do their snapshot. Rune Pups, right? So all these projects, none of them besides for RSEC, as far as I know, have actually distributed runes yet. And they might be waiting for fees to come down. As we'll see in a moment, the runes mania has set off a new epoch, a new era in terms of fees. So that's how it all started. The runes are tokens on Bitcoin. The word fungible sometimes confuses people. So we'll just say tokens on Bitcoin. And the way they work is, based on UTXO, they don't need any extra uh, off-chain data. They don't need smart contracts. They don't need anything added to the consensus of Bitcoin. Very simple, very much lighter on the Bitcoin meme pool than BRC20 or other form of tokenization on Bitcoin. And these pre-rune projects are that's how, early adopters got uh, exposure to runes. But now we're entering the new phase. Now we have essentially runes are live. So you can trade them, you can buy them. The only place where runes can actually be bought and sold right now is on Unisat. So Unisat, if you see they're selling Satoshi Nakamoto, which is probably the leading meme coin right now. It's trading in some great volume, and it's also listed on Gate.io. So the way it works on Unisat, again, it's not the most friendly user interface. You can't, decide I want to buy 10, 15 coins. You have to buy these sort of packages. So over here, I want to buy 100 coins, right? Over here, I want to buy 300 coins. So, people put up certain allocations for sale, and then you can decide to buy it or not. Another, you also can see now that RSEC is actually trading, right, for just under 1 cent. Now, RSEC is an interesting one because it was trading in pre-market for about 3.5 cents on average. So definitely keep an eye out for that. But in the moment, the user interface of Unisat isn't really friendly for anyone outside of Bitcoin, not to mention the fees that you'll probably pay. So it's obviously this pace of trading on runes in the first couple hours haven't been exceptional. It's been quite kind of slow, but there is opportunity for early adopters to get involved and to buy runes or to mint runes. Now, I won't be minting right now because I don't have enough confirmed BTC, right? So, this is my account is kind of low. But you can see over here, you have all these runes that are still available for mint. So Satoshi Nakamoto has already cleared, everyone minted out. This one's minted out, right? But Pepe with Honkers is doing quite well, and it's about to mint out. It probably is minted out already. It's about to mint out, so you can see over here. Pay attention to how much gas you'll pay, right? So you'll pay here about, that's very little amount of gas. That's about, let's say 7,770. It's about $42 for gas, right? So for $42, you can mint Pepe with Honkers. You've got all these, crazy names, and you can see the ones that have minted out so far, and Some of them are trading. We saw Satoshi Nakamoto trading at $6, and people minted it out for the cost of gas. So, people already making derivatives. Satoshi Nakamoto, Inu, meme economics is doing quite well, and then a lot of other names. So, pretty much, we're in the early days, Wild West. It's very easy to etch runes. Very easy to, you can etch a rune over here, and you can create with the, put up a picture, create the ticker decimals, and you can create your own token in a second. Now, it's very important to keep in mind that, I'm not covering the advanced course of how to monitor the mempool and how to make sure that you don't get front run. But there's a lot of opportunities for front running. So don't do this unless you have some skill, some BTC, and preferably a node. Hopefully, in future videos, I'll look into how to run a node properly so that you can get advantage mining and minting runes. So we've gone through what runes are. We've gone through buying runes. We've gone through minting runes. And obviously, if you don't have a wallet that can support runes, a Unisat wallet, right, or a Magic Eden wallet. The Magic Eden will, if you connect your wallet, you go Magic Eden, they'll offer you to download the wallet. So you need to have a Bitcoin wallet that supports uh, runes and ordinals and all that stuff. Now let's get into a little bit of, let's show me the camera. Put the camera on me. Now, a lot of the runes is split opinion, right? So Casey, the creator of runes, he wasn't even sure that having tokens on Bitcoin is a good thing. He writes in his blog, he writes very clearly, like, this invention will allow tokens on Bitcoin, but I'm not sure that that's a good thing. So there's a lot of ambivalence and apprehensiveness, especially in the maxi crowd, of why should we allow tokens on Bitcoin. Now, as a free market guy, I believe that Bitcoin should be able to, anyone can use Bitcoin for whatever they want. Like, you can't call it spam if people are paying fees to use the Bitcoin network in the way that they want, in the way that it was designed to. There's no consensus changes introduced by runes, so it's not like, okay, we're going to have bigger blocks, we're going to have mining is going to change. This isn't a consensus change. It's just a different way to read, and people who don't want to be involved in runes can actually filter out rune transaction on their node. But why are runes so critical right now? And that is because, and this is why I'm not so, I'm not so I'm not so clued up on what the maxis want from our lives, because runes are allowing Bitcoin to be sustainable as we proceed into the new epoch of 3.125 Bitcoin released every block. So the miners just got their fee, their revenue cut in half. In another 4 years, they'll get a cut in half again and again and again. So how does Bitcoin sustain itself? How can Bitcoin secure the network and make sure that it's robust? And that is through transaction fees, right? And that is what Satoshi said in his white paper. That is what maxis and Bitcoiners have been preaching since day one, that at a certain point, Bitcoin adoption will drive up fees, and fees will compensate for the drop in new Bitcoin supply coming on the market. And we're seeing that happen right now. Now, let's look at this, right? This was from yesterday. The miners revenue from fees. So now the Bitcoin revenue, miner revenue, is split up into two, right? Block subsidy, which is 3,125 at the moment, and fees. My revenue from fees is up, right? Revenue from fees is up to almost 70% of the mining rewards. That is a mental amount. Let me show you what I mean in the flesh, right? So you have that long ass candle. That's the revenue. That's the percentage of revenue from fees going up to about 70%, which is wild. Just before the halving, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 10%. So the mining fees on the day of the halving, the miners ate well, even though their block subsidy got cut in half. The miners ate well, and how well did they eat? $55 million in fees on one day, right? So that is a crazy, for all you discounted cash flow trad 5 people, this is an insane amount of cash flows coming into miners. This is the future of the Bitcoin network, right? Now, obviously, the questions of how sustainable it can be, how can someone in El Salvador buy coffee with Bitcoin when the fees are so high? That's why you have layer twos and innovation happening, on the side of Bitcoin. And that's why layer two companies are raising serious cash right now. We'll get into that in a future video. But for this video, the idea is that Bitcoin fees are getting pumped by ordinals and by runes, and this is a trend that will definitely continue, albeit with some swings up and down. Okay, so now that we're actually, we've gone through ordinals, runes, minting, etching, buying, all this stuff. I want to talk a little bit about the potential for runes going forward. Now, right now, it's all meme coins. You saw the tickers, Pepe with honkers, right? Dog to the moon. The usual subs. Take Pepe, dog, with Inu, and mix it up, and you create a ticker and send it. Start pumping it on Twitter, send it. But that is just stage one for runes. So the fact that runes Bitcoin now has a native token protocol that works without smart contracts, without off-chain data, that's very much aligned with the UTXO model of Bitcoin, opens up a world of opportunities on the mothership. So we hear things like stable coins, right? And stable coins living on Ethereum and on Tron have different purposes. Bitcoin can now have a much easier way of creating stable coins on the Bitcoin layer one, right? If you remember correctly, Omni protocol, or the Bitcoin layer two, that's where most of Tether supply was, back in the day at the beginning of the journey. So stable coins can come back and live on Bitcoin. Why would you want stable coins on Bitcoin when you can have them on Tron, which is faster and cheaper? So that is, that comes down to different use cases. And if you're an institution or you're a country and you want to trade in stable coins, you don't mind waiting 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour for finality. You're used to waiting 2 days for finality. So waiting that, if you're transferring large sums of money overseas, you don't need instant settlement like you have on Tron, right? But you do need the decentralization, the robustness, the immutability of Bitcoin, right? Real world asset tokenization as well. So that is a whole new ball game of bringing trillions of dollars of bonds, stocks, real estate onto the blockchain. Now with runes, those assets can exist natively on Bitcoin layer one. So I know it was disappointing. I'm disappointed that my rune bags aren't in the moon right now, that I'm in the studio and not on the beach sipping a mojito. But this is just the beginning. We're 36 hours in, and the next 36 hours, the next 36 days, the next 36 years, I have a feeling that runes will play a very central part in the financialization of everything, bringing everything on chain. It starts with meme coins, as it usually does. It starts with fun, with degens, and it's meme coins, it's fun and games. But what people have gone through to learn how to etch, to mint, to mine runes, to inscribe ordinals, like all the technical skills that the average person has to sort of understand and comprehend, even if they're not hands on with it, in order to understand runes, is insane. So this is just the beginning. Stay tuned. There's going to be, I think, a wave of runes content and applications and DeFi and VC money flowing in. It's all happening, and we're mamash really yalla at the beginning, at the focal point.